Welcome to Loud Librarians Lead with Laura Kelly. Joining me today is Emily Harris, librarian from the Siouxland Libraries, and Mary Jo Parker, library director from Lake Andes Public Library. And we're going to talk about their experiences serving on committee for the Collaborative Summer Library programs. Welcome, Emily and Mary Jo.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Emily and Mary Jo, can you tell librarians across the state why you chose to join a CSLP committee?
My name is Emily Harris, and I work at Siouxland Libraries as a librarian. My role is to help with apps and social media and keep those running well, websites, stuff like that. I first signed up for CSLP committees when I was a library associate at the Oakview branch. And as an associate, I did programming and circulation tasks. I signed up because, on a whim. I didn't think anything would come of it. I thought it's such a big program. There's no way. And so I just checked any box I was interested in. And lo and behold, I made it on. I found out they sent an email saying that I was on the committee. And it was kind of a surprise. There wasn't anything in between the survey and that email saying I was on the committee. Because I checked so many boxes over the years, I've served on several committees. I've served on the Early Childhood Spanish Committee, Teen and Adult. And then they kind of merged all of the ages. Luckily, it didn't take too much time. Be careful when you're checking those boxes because you could end up on more than one.
Awesome. I mean, it is so great that they have such a variety of opportunities to volunteer. So, think about different ways that you can serve. Thank you, Emily. Yeah. How about for you, Mary Jo?
Well, I'm Mary Jo Parker. I'm the director of Lake Andes Carnegie Public Library. I started here about 10 years ago. Before that, I was a classroom teacher for 35 years. A big part of my classroom teaching, I tried to involve volunteering for my students to do. And so it's always been part of my life to be a volunteer. And so it was a natural transition to the library director position that I would continue that volunteering and try to get more people to volunteer. I've done volunteering in the community. Right now I work with the community garden and volunteer with the farmers market. When you volunteer, you give some things, but you get a lot more back from that volunteering. And that's one of the reasons I really like it. I learned about CSLP committees by going to Library Institute. Then I also received the CSLP newsletter, which talks about when you can apply. And I thought it would be a natural progression as being a library director to try and get onto one of those committees. And I was accepted.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. And yeah, I think once you get in that habit of volunteering and you learn and grow from that situation, you're like, okay, I want to keep doing this. Emily, can you share a little experience? Now, you said you were on several committees, but most recently on the Teen Review Committee. What were some of your roles in that committee?
Sure. First of all, it was not very time consuming. There were two main tasks. The first one was they asked for suggestions for programming. So you could submit ideas for the manual for programming. And then the one that took more time was reviewing the manual in terms of does it make sense? So it's not like proofreading. It was looking at it to make sure that you understood if you were going to do this program, the instructions made sense. That was only about a week or two, I think, of time where they asked you to look at it and add comments. If they had trouble coming up with books for book lists, or if they wanted something more current, or if they wanted more diversity in their book lists, you could suggest titles too. It's mostly just reading over the manual in advance, which was fun because you get the inside scoop. It was a really good experience.
Right. It's so great to know what's coming. As well as I know in the manual, they've added a lot of tips and adaptations. So just getting input from librarians like you, thinking about different ways that you can use that in their library, because we all know we have different size libraries. Sometimes we're working with a large group of kids, sometimes a smaller group. And so just having all that versatility with all those tips and adaptations, we really appreciate that input as librarians. So thanks for doing that, Emily.
Yeah, it was fun.
How about for you, Mary Jo? Now, I know you recently served on the Child and Community Committee.
Yes, I'm currently on the Child and Community, and they've added well-being to the end of that name for that committee. But prior to that, I was on the Inclusion Committee. That one has a little bit different governance. You had a 3-year term, but you could opt out after 1 or 2 years. So I stayed on that committee for 2 years. And then I saw that the Child and Community Committee had more things that I was currently working on here at the library myself. So I thought that might be a better fit for me at the time. So I moved over to that committee. That term is once a year you reapply. You then are accepted. And as Emily mentioned, you really don't get a whole lot of notice, just that all of a sudden you're getting emails saying we're having a meeting, and so you realize that you must be on that committee. But so, and it's really neat that we have people on this child and community committee that are from Hawaii. We have people from the East Coast, and then of course the Midwest and the Southwest. And so it's really neat that we get to see how things are done in different parts of the country, and that even though we're all kind of working on the same thing, we do have different ideas. I think too that some of the projects that we've done in child and community, we are working on summer feeding, which is one of the big things that I was concerned about, because I did do it through the library for a couple of years while our school system was doing some reconstruction of the kitchen area. That was a good thing. And then I worked on the committee that redid some of the information about summer feeding, so that if you're interested in it, you can go to the CSLP website and look up how to apply, what it means to apply, those types of things. I did some updating on websites. We also try to get a monthly article in the CSLP newsletter from our committee. And so I've done that. Time amount. So I think if a meeting is maybe for an hour, and then if you have a project to do, you maybe put another hour in. So the time commitment is not that great, but it is a great experience.
Thank you for sharing, Mary Jo. And I think that's really important to note. Like, some committees, you can serve a 2 or 3 year commitment if you want to continue. Normally they run November through March, just depending on what committee you're on. And then coming up here in August, they're going to start looking for new members, which is why we thought this is a perfect time to talk about CSLP committees and explore what positions are open. I know with some committees, you have to have prior experience to serve on them, and that some have limited seats. As you can see, we have South Dakota librarians that are on those committees. So don't think, oh, they're not going to ask me from South Dakota. They love to have a variety of different representation from different states, different opinions, and you get to meet a lot of great people. I know serving on the theme and slogan committee the last 2 years, really got to know a lot of librarians from other states, and those relationships are great because I can ask other questions outside of just that initial committee about CSLP, and I've learned a lot about that process for theme and slogan too. And for you, like the summer feeding, you've learned a lot about how that works. And so, as you said, we're giving a lot, but we're getting a lot too, which is so great about being a volunteer. So Emily and Mary Jo, what are your future plans for serving on committees?
Well, my future plans are to continue on the South Dakota Teen Choice Awards Committee. I've been serving on that. That's formerly YARP. And then also I learned that I was accepted to the YALSA Teens Top 10 Book List Committee. 15 libraries in the country work with teens to nominate books. And then a survey goes out. Teens all over can vote on it after they read the books for what their favorite is. And then it makes a top 10 list for that year. So coordinating that should be fun.
Well, and how fun that you get to, work with your teens, get their voice out there so they get to talk about what they like. And also you're going to be so up to date on the new current books that are coming out, right?
Definitely. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Awesome.
I'm looking forward to it.
How about for you, Mary Jo?
Plan to continue to be on the Child and Community Wellbeing Committee. We have in the last year done 3 videos which are connected to the CSLP website, YouTube videos, so you can go to watch those anytime that works for you. One is on the summer feeding program, in I believe it's in Kansas. Then there's a kindness project, which is on, I think it's New Hampshire or Connecticut. And then we have someone who is doing mental and social and emotional health, and how we can affect that in the library with our patrons. So those are the upcoming things, and I'm interested in all of those, plus the summer feeding. And the kindness works right into our 2023 theme for CSLP, All Together Now. So I'm hoping that you'll go and watch the video. It's got some great recommendations and ways that people have done some great kindness projects. So I continue to work on that committee and work on committees here locally in my own community.
Wonderful. And it is so great. Like, we're always looking ahead at what's coming next. And, CSLP tries to be prepared for that. I know for theme and slogan, we're already talking about 25 and 26, and our voting is coming up for that. So if you're looking ahead and you're looking to plan, definitely check out their website, or being on a committee, like Emily said, kind of gives you that firsthand look at what's to come. So really helping you prepare for your library's next summer reading program. I know it's hard to think about that because we're just ending summer reading now, right? Well, we're getting ready to end this vlog as well. We can't end the vlog without doing our book recommendations. So do you guys have anything to recommend for that early literacy category?
My book for early literacy is Pirate Nell's Tale to Tell by Helen Docherty. And it is a fun book for children. I read it to the K through second graders, and I thought they were very enthusiastic about it. So I thought I'll read it to the third through fifth graders. And they liked it too. They were very attentive. And the great part is that she's looking for a treasure. And of course, at the end, she finds an island full of books, and that is her treasure. So all librarians should love that book.
Absolutely. We know that books are treasure, and you could definitely use that outside of Oceans of Possibilities as well. Emily, what do you recommend for early literacy?
Sure. I really like Falling for Rapunzel by Leah Wilcox. It is the story of Rapunzel, but with a little twist. It's funny because she is so high up in her tower that she can't hear the prince correctly. And so she ends up throwing down a lot of incorrect things. So it's a lot of fun. It's good for story time. It's very entertaining.
But I love when we get a little humor in there and get the kids giggling, right?
Yes.
Well, Emily, now that if you're looking into the children's category, what would you recommend for that age group?
I really liked the graphic novel, The Res Detectives. It takes place on a reservation. The ice cream man didn't show up. So it is about children who try and solve the mystery because ice cream is important on a hot day. So it was very good. I liked the art. I liked the story. I liked the mystery. It was great.
Ah, awesome. I love it. How about for you, Mary Jo?
Well, for my older children, I had Sunny Rolls the Dice by Jennifer Holm, and it's part of series. And in this particular one, I think it's based in the 1990s. This girl is trying to fit in, which a lot of those children in that age group, that's one of the things they're trying to do. So it would work really well. And I think a parent reading it together with the child would be great because there were references to being groovy and Dungeons and Dragons, things that getting her ears pierced for the first time and those kinds of things that were the 1990s, as I remember them anyway. So it's a cute book. It's a graphic novel, and I enjoyed reading it.
Thank you for sharing. Now, if you're thinking about the teen category, Mary Jo, what would you recommend for the teens in South Dakota?
Well, I'm starting to read it. I haven't finished it yet, but The Stunt Boy by Jason Reynolds. I saw the interview on Sunday morning with Jason Reynolds. I had the book, but I just hadn't had time to read it. Piqued my interest in watching the interview that they did with him. And it is a graphic novel. I think it could be 12 through 18-year-olds would probably enjoy it. Deals with bullying. It also deals with family relations. And it's an inner city type atmosphere, which here in little rural South Dakota, we probably don't understand real well. It's an interesting book. I'm hoping to finish it soon. So that's my recommendation.
Yeah, it is so great to be able to show different viewpoints, different places that we live in. And through reading, we can understand that better. And maybe even showing the interview to your teens, that might spark some interest as well. Emily, how about you for your teens?
I really liked Somewhere Between Bitter and Sweet. It is about an older teen who helps her family with their restaurant. She loves to bake and she wants to open her own business. She's very interesting. There's a romance too, but it's not really focused on that. It's more on her personality and her growth and how she communicates with people around her. I really loved it. It was very good.
That does sound fun, and it would also make you a little hungry in between. You could put that with some type of cooking program. That would be super fun. Yes. How about for the adult recommendations, Emily?
I really like Mysteries by Meg Gardner and Ellie Griffiths. They both feature female sleuths and they have a strong sense of place. So Ellie Griffiths writes about England and Meg Gardner writes usually about California. They both have action-packed endings. The Ellie Griffiths books in particular have romance in peril and an odd duck character named Cathbad who's very interesting. And the mysteries are always great. They're not too simple. They're not too complicated. They're perfect. So if you're a mystery fan.
That makes me think, right? That I have to, even after I put it down, I'm still pondering how are they going to solve this? How about for you, Mary Jo? What would you recommend for adult readers?
Well, we have a book club in our little town, and we just finished reading The Readers a Broken Wheel Recommend by Katriana Bivold. And it's a romantic mystery based in Broken Wheel, Iowa, a made-up town in Iowa, but it's a very small town. It's gotten, the highway started going around it, businesses have died, and it has some problems that need to be addressed. And it starts out with a young girl who's works in a bookstore in Sweden, becomes a pen pal with an elderly lady from Broken Wheel. And they line it up that she's going to come to visit with, it's a 2-month visa. And when she gets there, the pen pal has just passed away. So now she has to find out all about all these people that she's been introduced to through letters. The mystery is her finding out how do they connect? And then does she get to stay or does she leave to go back to Sweden? And it's a humorous book. It had us all laughing at book club, and it was a great read. So I recommend it.
Thank you. And yes, we're always looking for good book club books to offer. Emily and Mary Jo, thank you for taking the time to visit with me today and lead others by sharing your knowledge of serving on committees and your book recommendations. I love the quote from Elizabeth Andrews: volunteers do not necessarily have the time, but they have the heart. So if you have that heart and you want to make a difference somewhere in CSLP or in your community, please consider volunteering and look to see which committees you can join in your community or nationwide and gain as much as you give, as Mary Jo said. Goodbye, Emily and Mary Jo.
Thanks.
And remember, librarians are not buns and shushing anymore. Bye, South Dakota librarians. Talk to you again soon.